Hello, thanks for joining us today. The video that you're about to watch is to be used for instructional purposes only. If you need more detailed information, please consult your owner's manual or you can contact the Water Engineering Customer Service Department. I hope you find this video helpful and it gets you back up and running in a timely fashion. Thank you. Hi, my name is Neil Taylor. I'm here today to show you how to prime the hydraulic end of your MT8 pump. Now, I've taken the liberty of removing the top cover, the main PRV valve, and the 3 PRV plugs just to aid in clarity. Now, when you do this in the field, the top cover will stay on for safety, but I have it removed now just to make it clear as to what we're going to be doing and the oil level down inside of the pump. So you have 2 quarts of oil and it should take approximately 2 quarts to fill the pump. So I'll go ahead and do that now. And you can just dump that right in. No reason to be gentle about anything. Just go ahead and dump it all in. So as you can see, it takes 2 quarts of oil. When you dump that in, that should be right about your fill level. So now I'm going to proceed with priming the hydraulic end of the pump. What you'll need is just a standard eyedropper that can be found anywhere, or some way to take out small amounts of oil and drizzle them down inside of each one of the 3 PRV ports and the main PRV port as well. So let me demonstrate that. And you'll know when they're full, the oil level will be full in this main PRV port and the oil will start coming out. But you want to make sure to fill all 3 ports just to make sure that the oil is going into the hydraulic end evenly. This will help you down the road in being able to purge the air from the hydraulic end. Now you can see the oil is starting to come up in the main PRV port. This is a good sign. That's what you want to see. But keep filling until that oil level is all the way full. Okay, as you can see, that oil level is now full inside of the main PRV port, which is right here. Now the next step to doing this is to start your electric motor. You want to start very, very slow. So what I would recommend, depending on your gearbox, is maybe start the motor out at about 200 RPM. That way the pump won't overspeed. You won't have a mess of oil. Everything should be fine. Now if you need to run it a little faster or a little slower, depending on how your hydraulic end is priming, that's okay. I just want to make sure that everybody understands that slow is good to start. And again, the reason why we have the top cover off is just to show clarity. For safety purposes, make sure that your cover is still attached, but you've removed your PRV plug plate and your main PRV, and you can have access to everything that I've just done. So this is only for clarity. Make sure, safety first, people. Make sure your cover is on and everyone stays safe. So let's go ahead and start up our electric motor very slowly at about 200 RPM. Okay, so as you can see in looking down, you see these 3 ports, it looks like they're pulsing, raising and lowering. It looks like a heartbeat. This is a good sign. This is what you want to see. Now, you're not going to see any air being evacuated quite yet until we install the main or into the 3 PRV plugs, which I'm going to start to do. Now, it doesn't matter which order you install them in. It really makes no difference. I'm going to start with this chamber and work my way over. So here is the PRV plug, and you just drop that down inside of the port, take your Allen wrench, and start to screw that in. Now it screws in very, very easily. You'll feel some resistance going in. That's just the O-rings sealing, so that's no problem. Just screw it in nice and slow, nice and steady, until it bottoms out. And you will feel it when it bottoms out. Now that one has bottomed out. Take your next plug, drop it into the port, start to screw it in very, very slowly, and watch for air bubbles to start coming out of this main PRV port. Now if they don't when you're screwing this particular plug in, that's okay. That's okay, that's nothing to worry about. But just keep screwing it in and keep watching for bubbles. And if we don't see bubbles, that's okay. We've still got one more plug to go. Okay, so now that one's tight. Now when I drop this plug in, we should start to see bubbles start to escape from that main PRV port. And there they come. Now this is a good sign. It's good to see bubbles coming out of that main PRV port because in your hydraulic end, air is the enemy. You want to make sure all of that air is purged so your pump operates properly. So I'm going to go ahead and continue to screw this plug in, and as it gets screwed in, you can see more and more bubbles are being evacuated. So I'm screwing this plug in, and more very large bubbles coming out. Again, this is a very positive sign. This is what you want to see. As long as those bubbles are still coming out, we're still in priming mode for this pump. So that plug is all the way down now, and you can see we still have air escaping from the back end. Now, one way to speed up the air evacuation process is just to speed your motor up a little bit. If you're running at 200 RPM, maybe bump it up to 400 RPM. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's bump up our motor speed just a little bit. Okay, as you can see, now that our motor is running a little faster, we have more and more air being evacuated from the hydraulic end of the pump. Again, this is a very good sign. This could take up to 10 minutes to evacuate all the air, but usually it goes much, much faster. So now you can see we've got very few bubbles, if any, coming out, maybe just a few little stragglers coming out. It's okay to bump your motor RPM up again. So if you're at 400, maybe bump it up another 200, say 600 RPM or so. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so now our motor is running at a higher RPM, and you still see we do have some very slight bubbles still coming out. We're seeing a nice pulse. You can see a nice little pulse going on back in the oil end of the pump. Now, to make sure that all the air is evacuated from the back end of the pump, you can go back through and loosen these plugs again. And as we loosen them, we may get a few more bubbles that come out. That's okay. I mean, any way that you can find to remove air from the back end of the pump is going to help you speed the evacuation of the air, and also make sure that when you actually do want to get back up and running, you've got your cover assembled, you've got your main PRV housing, you're ready to hook up your system and run. All the air needs to be out of the back end of the pump to pump at an efficient rate. So as you can see, when I unscrewed that one port, we did get a few little bubbles that came out. This is that's a very good sign. So you just unscrew them, screw them back in, make sure that they're tight. That one is nice and tight, and we'll do that just one more time at the very end port, and we'll make sure that all of the bubbles and all of the air has been evacuated from the back end of the pump, which it looks like it has now. I mean, we're seeing a nice pulse in the main PRV port. So we screw our 3 PRV plugs back in, and our hydraulic end of the pump is primed. Now you can go ahead and reassemble it, install your main PRV, and get back up and running. Thank you.